Speaking of church, can I say something? If more folks went to church, we wouldn't be in this mess we're in now.
For what they did,
Yeah.
honestly, they should go to jail.
Speaking of church, can I say something? If more folks went to church, we wouldn't be in this mess we're in now.
Historians, because for good or for bad, that movie is a document that has to accurately reflect the tenor of that day.
Tom Hanks in a MAGA hat? No, you're not hallucinating. America's favorite actor actually put on Trump's signature red cap during an SNL skit. But wait, this gets even weirder. Hanks said with a straight face that if more folks went to church, we wouldn't be in this mess we're in now. The same Tom Hanks who called Trump a self-involved gas bag was suddenly sounding like a MAGA supporter. What the heck is going on here?
We have never turned to a simplistic, self-involved gas bag of a candidate. Really here in order to mend the future, if I can coin a word that has just come out in a book that I read not too long ago.
Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. So did Tom Hanks really put on a MAGA hat and start praising Trump?
The blessings of liberty for ourselves and for our posterity. We need a brand of guidance and we need a brand of common sense and realize that a Rubicon had been crossed. We were a different country as of that moment.
That's what some conservatives want you to believe, but the reality is way more interesting and honestly, pretty hilarious. Let's rewind to that fateful SNL episode. There's Tom Hanks, America's beloved dad figure, wearing a bright red MAGA hat and playing a character named Doug in the show's Black Jeopardy segment. The visual alone created instant cognitive dissonance. Tom Hanks, supporting Trump, what alternate universe did we stumble into? The real fireworks started when Hanks, fully committed to his character, delivered the line that would launch 1,000 Facebook posts.
It would be thought out. It would be, I think, taking into account all the lessons that were learned. What happens when you don't do it right over a long course? We, the people of the United States, are going to promote the general welfare and provide for the common defense.
If more folks went to church, we wouldn't be in this mess we're in now. He said it with such conviction that you could almost hear the collective conservative gasp of delight across America. What happened next was a perfect storm of social media confusion. Right-wing viewers completely missed the joke. They thought Tom Hanks had seen the light and was secretly signaling his Trump support. Conservative Twitter lit up like a Christmas tree. Even Hollywood's biggest star knows Trump is right. They crowed, "America's dad is MAGA." The celebration was immediate and intense. Meanwhile, liberal viewers watched the same sketch with an entirely different understanding. They saw Hanks performing satire.
If I did it, you would be standing up in that chair shouting at me. And you know what I'd do? I'd say, you got me.
I know nothing about QAnon. I know nothing about it.
I know nothing about the indictment.
I know nothing about WikiLeaks.
I have no idea who these women are.
I said,
And they got me. I said, I want to wear it on stage. When they said I looked thinner.
Using comedy to expose the uncomfortable collision of religious righteousness and political identity that has become a cornerstone of MAGA culture. The awkward handshake moment in the skit was particularly telling. When Doug attempted to shake hands with the black host, the tension was palpable. A clever commentary on the racial discomfort many Trump supporters try to hide behind "I don't see color" rhetoric. The audience squirmed and laughed simultaneously because the truth often hurts, especially when delivered through comedy. What makes this situation so fascinating is how completely the conservative audience missed the point. SNL wasn't celebrating MAGA culture. They were using Hanks's likability to shine a spotlight on its contradictions.
Historians, because for good or for bad, that movie is a document that has to accurately reflect the tenor of that day. And I'd like to think that we did.
Yeah.
We were all on the cusp of a without a doubt, a historic moment in the history of our republic.
The comedy writers knew exactly what they were doing, using one of America's most trusted actors to deliver a sophisticated critique. In reality, Tom Hanks has made his actual feelings about Trump crystal clear. He's called the former president a self-involved gas bag and expressed serious concerns about threats to democracy under Trump's leadership. Not exactly the glowing endorsement conservatives thought they were getting from the SNL skit. Right-wing media outlets completely missed the memo, though. They seized on the skit as proof that Hollywood elites mock regular Americans. The irony is thicker than Trump's spray tan. They were celebrating a comedy bit that was actually making fun of them. Talk about an own goal.
Faith that the United States of America and the Western societies that have adopted more or less the same sort of democracy cannot help but turn towards what is right.
For what they did,
Yeah.
honestly, they should go to jail.
Our hometown. Let's seize this moment and create a country for tomorrow.
What Hanks and SNL were actually exposing was something far more substantial: the dangerous merger of religion and politics within the MAGA movement. When Doug suggests church attendance would solve America's problems, the joke isn't that church is bad. It's that simplistic religious platitudes have replaced nuanced political thinking for many MAGA supporters. The entire episode reveals the power of effective satire. By having Hanks embody the very stereotype being mocked, SNL created a moment where conservatives essentially applauded their own caricature. They saw what they wanted to see, validation from a beloved celebrity, rather than recognizing the mirror being held up to their worldview.
And it's the very people who perpetrated the lies that I was an agent of Russia, like Adam Shifty Schiff and others.
Nobody knows more about trade than me.
Nobody knows the system better than me.
Nobody knows the banking industry better than me.
Nobody knows more about environmental impact statements.
This disconnect illustrates why political comedy matters. When direct criticism fails to penetrate partisan bubbles, satire sometimes sneaks through, planting seeds of self-reflection where straightforward arguments can't reach. At least that's the hope, though in this case, the satirical point sailed over many heads like a Trump toupee in a hurricane. In the end, it's all about what Tom Hanks himself actually believes, not what conservatives wanted to believe about a comedy sketch.
I said, well, I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. I'm going to protect them. I'm going to protect them from migrants coming in.
Who wanted to stay in Iraq, I took him out. I mean, if it were up to her, we'd be in 50 different countries.
Hanks has been crystal clear about his views, saying that greatness isn't automatic, it must be protected. That's not exactly MAGA talk, folks. While conservatives were busy celebrating their new red-hatted hero, they completely missed Hanks' genuine concern that Trump's leadership creates divisions that won't easily heal. He's worried about a president who leads with ego instead of humility and service. You know, actual presidential qualities. When America's dad calls someone a self-involved gas bag, you might want to listen. Comedy may have confused the conservatives this time, but Hanks' real message isn't funny at all. It's a serious warning about protecting democracy from a guy who cares more about his own validation than bringing the country together.